So you've got some pretty passionate fans outside since early this morning.
Yeah.
Is it always like this when you guys go from city to city?
Well, it's pretty cold out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have our fans are pretty thick-skinned, and I appreciate that about them. But it makes for a good show whenever they pack into one room, so props to them for sure.
Yeah. I heard in Ottawa the ceiling tiles below your concert were falling down. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about that, but only the morning after. So we weren't aware that it happened while it was happening, of course, or else we would have been down there trying to help clean up or whatever. I feel bad. I mean,
what are you talking about? That's really rock star to have the ceiling tile?
Yeah, I guess in one sense it feels punk rock to have ruined something, but the part of me where my mom yelled at me for, knocking anything over or not cleaning up after myself makes me feel like we should have been back there helping, but
that's kind of nice. That's very nice. When did you first realize that you guys were super successful? Like, was there something particular that happened? It was like, oh my gosh, we've made it.
Well, there's a few moments throughout my career so far where I've had that feeling. One of them is a very simple moment where Josh and I were able to quit our day jobs. Josh was working at Starbucks. I was working at a restaurant. And it was like, now's the time. Like, it was a specific day. Like, I remember the day where we said, like, put in your 2 weeks, man. Like, we're going to do this. We're going to actually do this. So that was a big moment for me. And at the time, we weren't, like, successful or popular or anything. It's just that we had something going that we believed in. So that was a big moment for me. And then after that, there's been several moments. There's certain shows I look out and I'm just like, man, I used to play in front of people who I knew personally, and that's it, and then to look out there and not be able to know everyone's names is a pretty crazy thing, but they're singing the songs and they kind of like have been inside my brain, so I feel like I have a bit of a connection with them, so that's probably a reoccurring moment. It happens almost every night.
That's pretty cool. The black paint on the neck and the hands, you want to talk a bit about that? Yeah,
so the new record that we're touring on right now is called Blurry Face, and it's not really a concept record, but there's a common thread that runs throughout each song where this blurry face character is kind of this character I came up with that I like to say I met in another dimension, but really he represents a lot of the insecurity that one would struggle with or go through, and for me to kind of have that focus, to put those insecurities, give them a name, a face, a seat across the table to look at, really helped me write the record. And then I felt like the way to kind of manifest that character on stage is black hands and black neck with the makeup that I put on. And for some reason, what I create as an artist with my hands is something I'm most insecure about. Like when you make something and then you want to show someone and you find out in that moment whether or not you're good, and people usually try to avoid those moments, so that's why it's on the hands. And then on the neck, I think that the best way of describing some insecurities for people is this kind of a sensation of suffocating, and so in a way I always apply that makeup myself before each show. It's kind of a very like ritualistic moment for me to get ready for the show, make sure my head's in the right place and realize what it is that I'm doing. And then throughout the course of the show, the paint starts to wear off, and at the end it's kind of this like I don't know, we won, I guess. And so that's kind of what the record's trying to convey.
So yeah, it's like a metaphor. By the end of the show, they've accepted your art and everything, and you can expose yourself a little more.
Right, and I look sweet.
Yeah, well, obviously. Have you ever gotten it on something that it shouldn't have been on, the paint rubbed off somewhere?
Well, it's alcohol activated, meaning it can only be applied with like 90% like rubbing alcohol, and then it can only be taken off with, other than like friction and a little bit of sweat, it'll start to come off over the show, but it doesn't really come off on anything. But if you do look down at my piano, it's just looks disgusting.
Does it come off?
It does over the course of a tour for sure. So yeah, I get it kind of all over the place. Sometimes right after I'll apply it, I have to make sure I don't like itch my nose or like anything, because I'll take a show and realize that the entire time I was up there with like black on my eye like lids or something like that. So yeah.
You guys have done a lot of music festivals, a lot of touring. Have you met any of your heroes along the way?
Yeah, I met a band called Death Cab for Cutie, which I've like been listening to for a long time and just really learned a lot from them, just listening to the music. Never known them, so it's weird when I met them. It's like I know they don't know who I am. They don't even know I exist, but I'm so aware of their existence and who they are, and to have those moments as an artist yourself really gives you a perspective of how some interactions you will have with your fans, where they're trying to like convey, hey, you're special to me, but you don't know who I am. So it really helped me appreciate those interactions with my fans, because I still have those interactions with other people. So
you're trying to create a moment with that person, but they don't really know who you are or what you're about.
And that's why it's always kind of awkward too, or at least from the outside looking in. If you were to watch a fan interaction, sometimes it's like they're usually they don't really know what to do or what to say. But you have to, put yourself in a situation where, like I said, I may not know who they are, but they know who I am, and it's that's a weird dynamic to start any sort of conversation with. So I never look down on them for any sort of awkward conversations, or maybe they don't know what to say, and because I do the same thing to my favorite artists.
So what should a fan do if they're coming up to you?
I just tell me what they're thinking, how they feel. I mean, something I have learned as I've kind of like crawled slowly into the spotlight is no one's that impressive. No one is that like high up that you can't even, you should be nervous to talk to them, that you should worry about bothering them, that you should worry about, what they think of you. It's just, everyone's just a human being. And so honestly, seeing some of that success has stripped away some of that mysticism and from famous people for me, and now I'm just kind of like fearless of them, as where before I was just looked up to famous people as if they were untouchable, and now that I'm kind of creeping into that, I'm just like, I'm no one that should be famous or popular or anything. And so if that's the case with me, then that's probably the case with them too. So it's kind of helped me put in perspective what fame really is all about.
I hear your mom is a big Will Ferrell fan. What's her favorite movie?
Oh man, she loves Elf. We watch that almost.
Every mother does.
Yeah. So she just gets a kick out of that, and so yeah, I was lucky enough to have met Will Ferrell one time. It was very quick in passing, so I don't mean to like name drop, but my mom was really thrilled about that. So I got to tell her that I met Will Ferrell.
Any other heroes who you want to meet? Like, who's on your list?
I've not met Brandon Flowers from The Killers. That'd be cool. I've learned a lot from him, and he doesn't even know it. I'm trying to think who else. I'd like to meet Steph Curry, because my brother is like one of his biggest fans, and I think it'd be really cool for me to rub that in my brother's face.
I was going to say just for bragging rights. Yeah.
Because, I'm like particularly fond of him, but just to kind of like make my brother feel jealous.
That's awesome. I have to ask you about this because I never knew this existed with bands. 21 Pilot fan fiction. Have you heard of this?
Oh, yeah.
I was just reading one about you eating a bunch of bad tacos. That's what this particular fan fiction was about. Have you heard about that one?
Well, right off the bat, it's not real, because there's no such thing as a bad taco. But
turned tacos, maybe?
Yeah, maybe if you let them sit out long enough. People try to, I don't look down on that stuff, as long as it's something that they're creating themselves. I mean, I know some of the stories are a little twisted and odd, but it's still art. So I don't disagree with the ability to create something out of thin air.
Sure. What's the most memorable one that you've heard of?
I've never really dug deep into that stuff, but there's a lot of stuff where Josh and I are like making out and all kinds of other things, and I think that's like honestly, Josh and I think it's pretty hilarious. So I think our friend Mark looks them up and he'll read them to us, and we'll just like die laughing. We think it's funny.
It's a great way to pass time on the tour bus.
Oh yeah.
Did you know that this fan fiction about musicians existed before you guys rose up?
No clue. I had no idea that was a thing until it was started writing about us, and so I think it's great.
Oh, it's flattering, at least.
Yeah, exactly.